A retrieved reformation. Now let's see what is this prose all about. The word itself, retrieved. Do you know the meaning of the word retrieve? Retrieving something. What does retrieve mean, children? Okay, let's guess the prose. What the prose would be. Any guesses? Retrieving. If you're retrieving anything, what does that mean?
Receiving something.
Okay. And reformation. Reformation. The word itself is telling you.
Turning into a different.
Okay. So now let's see what do we have in this story, in this particular prose. Yesterday we saw a video based upon this prose, which was like an introductory video towards this chapter. Okay. So now let's read the prose and understand the prose in detail. A guard came to a prison shoe shop where Jimmy Valentine was steadily stitching uppers and escorted him to the front office. There the warden handed Jimmy his pardon, which had been signed that morning by the governor of the prison. So you remember yesterday the video which I showed, this particular prose was related to a character named Jimmy Valentine. So what he had done, what do you remember from yesterday's video? Any guesses?
He was a burglar. He used to crack safes.
Okay. And what is the role of the governor? What did he do? Why did he land up in prison? Any guesses?
Because he had cracked a safe and burgled a house. That's
yes.
But he was caught.
Okay. So now let's see what happens in this particular prose. Raj, would you like to read?
Yes, ma'am. Now, Valentine, said the warden, you'll go out in the morning. You're not a bad fellow at heart. Stop cracking safes and live straight. Me, said Jimmy in surprise. Why? I never cracked a safe in my life. Oh no, laughed the warden. Of course not. Let's see now. How was it you happened to get set up on the Springfield job? Me, said Jimmy, still sounding virtuous. Why, warden? I never was in Springfield in my life. Take him back, Cronin, smiled the warden, and fix him up with outgoing clothes. Unlock him at 7 in the morning. Better think over my advice, Valentine. At 7:15 on the next morning, Jimmy stood in the warden's outer office.
Okay. So now let's see what happens. Now, as we all know, Jimmy Valentine, he was a person who used to, he was basically a thief, right? So that's the reason he was locked up in the prison. And now when they were releasing him, the governor gives him the advice, right? Who gives him the advice?
The warden.
Warden, right? So what was the advice given by the warden to Jimmy?
That he should stop committing crimes and cracking safes and just live a simple life.
So live a normal, simple and a faithful life. Okay, he should stop cheating people and robbing things. Did Jimmy accept whatever he was giving advices he was giving him?
No, ma'am.
No, he did not accept. Okay, he instantly denied it, saying that no, and he sounded in such a way that he was, whatever he was saying, he was very confidently, he gave the answer, no, I do not indulge myself in all such activities. Okay, then what was the reaction of the warden to this?
The warden says that if you have not cracked any safes, then how was it that you were doing the Springfield job?
Okay. And then what happens after that? What does the warden order? To
unlock him at 7 in the morning.
Yes, to
take him back to
him
his cell.
at 7 in the morning and let him think about the advice given to him. Okay, have you all understood till here, children?
Yes,
ma'am.
Okay, let's continue further.
The clerk handed him a railroad ticket and the $5 bill with which the law expected him to rehabilitate himself into good citizenship and prosperity. He tossed a coin into the hat of a blind man and boarded his train. 3 hours set him down in a little town near the state line. He went to the cafe of one Mike Dolan and shook hands with Mike, who was alone behind the bar. Sorry we couldn't make it sooner, Jimmy, my boy, said Mike. Fine, said Jimmy. Got my key? He got his key and went upstairs, unlocking the door of the room at the rear. Everything was just as he had left it. There on the floor was still Ben Price's collar button that had been torn from that eminent detective's shirt band when they had overpowered Jimmy to arrest him.
Yes. Okay,
Jimmy,
so now one minute. I'll just explain this, then you can read further. So what happens further? The very next morning, what happens? They release him from the prison, right? What do they give him while releasing him from the prison? What things do they hand over to him?
Ma'am, he gave they handed him a railroad ticket and a $5 bill.
Right. So he takes the ticket as well as the money, and he boards the train. Okay. And then after 3 hours, almost after 3 hours, he reaches his destination. And after getting down, he first enters goes to a cafe. Whom does he meet in the cafe?
Mike Dolan.
Okay, and then Mike Donald, they meet each other, they have a conversation. Mike Donald gives him the key, all right, which Jimmy takes, and he enters his room. As soon as he enters his room, what is the condition of the room? How does he find his room, children?
Ma'am, everything
The
was
way
just he had left it.
Okay, the way he had left, and even when they were taking him to the prison, there's some thing which had happened. That
Ma'am,
it was yes.
Ma'am, it was the Ben Price's collar button
Yes,
that has been turned when they were forcing him to
forcing him.
arrest him.
Yes, when they were taking him into the prison. So he describes even that minute detail as well. So to emphasize that the room was intact in the same way as he had left. Now let's see what happens further. Now we know he enters his own room. Okay, would you like to continue, Bita? Raj?
ma'am, I can. If you want.
Okay, go ahead. Very good.
Jimmy slid back a panel in the wall and dragged out a dust-covered suitcase. He opened this and gazed fondly at the finest set of burglar's tools in the East. It was a complete set made of specially tempered steel with 2 or 3 novelties invented by Jimmy himself, in which he took pride. In half an hour, Jimmy went downstairs and through the cafe. He was now dressed in elegant and well-fitting clothes and carried his dusted and clean suitcase in his hand. A week after the release of Valentine, 9762, there was a neat job of safe burglary done in Richmond, Indiana, with no clue to the author. 2 weeks after that, a patented improved burglar-proof safe in Logansport was burgled to the tune of $1,500. Currency, documents, and silver untouched. That began to interest the rogue catchers. Then an old-fashioned bank safe in Jefferson City became the target. The losses were high enough to bring the matter up into the Ben Price's class of work. By comparing notes, a remarkable similarity in the methods of these 3 burglaries was noticed.
Okay, so when he was released from the prison, he was told that now they are expecting him to be a good citizen, right? Now let's see what does Jimmy take away. Does he change himself? Does he become a normal good citizen and live a simple life, or does he continue with the same thing? Now after entering the room, he picks up what does he do? He takes up his stuff. What stuff did he take?
Ma'am, he took
Some
out
burglar tools.
his suitcase in which there were some tools of the burglar and also 2-3 of the one which was made by himself.
Yes, and he was
himself.
taking pride just because he himself has made it. All right. Now, after taking the suitcase, he walks downstairs through the cafe. Okay. And then what happens? Where does he go? A week after. Okay. Now he dresses himself in a very elegant way and he walks downstairs. But then a week after, what happens? What is the scenario of the like surrounding in the society he's staying? What happens? What is happening over there? Who'll
After
tell
the
me?
release of Valentine, he starts robbing many banks, even burglaring a safe that was improved to be burglar proof. And what Valentine did was he just took $1,500 and left all the currency, documents, and silver
And even
untouched.
the silver, yes. And
So
then what did he stop there?
no, then he thought that let's go to Jefferson City now to open
Okay.
a old-fashioned bank safe.
Yes. Why is it that only Raj is answering and Raj is only reading? Where are the rest of the students? Priyanshu, Vivan, Shreyas. Y'all can also participate, okay? So basically, what does he do? So what do you think? Did he change himself or he's the same?
No, ma'am, he's the same.
He's the same. See, even after spending, being coming out of the prison, he has not changed himself. Instead, he took pride in whatever things he had invented, and he continued to do what he used to do before. So he starts with what? By $15. He takes away $15, and he does not touch even neither the currency, nor the documents, nor the jewelries. Okay, the silver. Okay. After that, he goes to which city? To the
Jefferson.
Jefferson
Jefferson
City.
City. Okay. Then here also he doesn't stop. After that, where does he go?
Ma'am,
Yes, Vivan. Try.
ma'am, I think Logan's Fort.
Okay. What about you, Priyanshu? Where does he go? After Jefferson City, what does he do? What happens after that?
No, ma'am. After he burgled the bank in the Jefferson City, the losses were high enough to bring the matter into the class of Brent Price, the eminent detective. And after comparing all the notes, a remarkable similarity was seen and noticed in all the three burglaries.
Okay.
Then it was then when Price had remarked that it was Jamie Valentine's style and he had resumed the robberies.
Okay, so there was one particular style which was used by him, and through that they were able to trace that all these robberies or whether it was related to bank or anything, it was done by none but Jimmy himself. Okay, so there was no change in him, and the people also realized that it was him. Let's see what happens further. Ben Price investigated the scenes. Yes.
Ben Price investigated the scenes of the robberies and was heard to remark, "That's Jim Valentine's style. He's resumed business." Ben Price knew Jimmy's habits. One afternoon, Jimmy Valentine and his suitcase climbed out of the mail hack in Elmore, a little town 5 miles off the railroad down in Arkansas. Jimmy, looking like an athletic young senior just home from college, went down the sidewalk towards the hotel. A young lady crossed the street, passed him at the corner, and entered a door over which was the sign, the Elmore Bank. Jimmy Valentine looked into her eyes and forgot what he was and became another man.
Okay, let's stop here. Now, just can you take up a little bit? Have you heard whether it was a thief or whether it is a police? Both are aware about their, special styles and tactics.
Yes, ma'am.
If you ask the thief, they know everything about the police, and if you ask the police, they also know the tactics which they use, right? The thieves use, so they can identify each other very well, which we as commoners won't understand, right? So definitely by seeing all the evidences, what are the remarkable, by seeing the condition of where the robberies were done, he could notice that this was not done by none but Jimmy Valentine himself. So what happens after that? One afternoon, what happens? What is the incident which takes place one afternoon?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, Vivan?
Ma'am, Jimmy Valentine goes with his suitcase downstairs to the railroad and down in Arkansas.
Yes. Okay. He goes to the with his suitcase Okay, 5 miles away. Okay, with at a place named it Arkansas. Okay, now what happens over here?
Ma'am, he looks like a athletic young senior just home from college,
Okay,
and then
okay,
he goes to the hotel.
okay, okay. In the hotel, what happens? Whom he sees?
A young lady crossed the street passed him. So Jimmy had another way, another business means he was not in the.
Ma'am,
Anybody
can I?
else? Yes, yes.
Ma'am, like just when the young lady crossed,
Hmm.
so he forgot what was the aim why he has come here, and
Huh?
by seeing the lady, he became another man. Like
Yes,
now he was not a burglar, but he was
yes,
like a
yes. This happens in movies.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, y'all can relate to it, right? I
Yes,
won't ask
ma'am.
you all to give me the name of the movie, but y'all can see that this happens most of the time, right? And they have specific dialogues also used in Hindi movies for such kinds of situations. So similarly happens with Jimmy. Let's see what happens, whether he gives up. Hopefully let's see if he gives up his job, and if he really changes himself. Let's see. So she lowered. Yes, continue.
She lowered her eyes and colored slightly. Young men of Jimmy's style and looks were rare in Elmore. Jimmy collared a boy that was idling on the steps of the bank and began to ask him questions about the town. By and by, the young lady came out looking unconscious of the young man with the suitcase and went her way. Isn't that young lady Miss Polly Simpson? Asked Jimmy with great will. Now revealed the boy. She's Annabelle Adams. Her parents own this bank, he added with a great air of knowledge.
Okay. So just see, if you want to know about some person, this is another style of asking. You won't ask that, go and directly ask that, oh, what is your name? So, what does he do over here? Did he ask directly the name of the
no,
lady?
ma'am.
Then
Ma'am, but like first he started talking about the town, and then side by side, like he was talking about the town, that area. Then from one place to another, like he was just aiming the point and then asking
yes,
the
so
question.
he tried, this happens, this even most of us experience, right? If you want to start a conversation with some unknown person, we won't go and directly come to the point. We will first, talk about something which is irrelevant, okay, something which does not have any meaning, and then slowly and gradually will come to the point. So same way he did it, because he wanted to initiate a conversation, he wanted to know about her. So basically, how did he do it? How did he do it? Or did he ask her name directly?
No,
No,
he
ma'am.
made the young boy believe that he knew the name so that he could tell him the real name.
Yes. So automatically he got the real name of the lady. What was the real name of the lady?
Annabelle
Annabelle
Adams.
Adams.
Bill Adams. And whose daughter was she? This is
Ma'am,
very important.
Ma'am,
the owner of the bank.
the manager of the bank.
Bank. Yes,
Wow.
ma'am. Owner of the
What a
bank.
combination. See, on other hand, we have Jimmy, who is the bank robber. And on the other hand, we have the young lady whom Jimmy wants to initiate the conversation. But the climax over here is
Her
she
parents
belongs
was
to,
the owner of the bank.
Owner of the bank.
Of the bank.
yes. Okay. So now let's see what happens further. Are you all interested to it?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Very
Okay.
interesting.
Okay. Raj, you are bringing live in this by reading with proper intonations and voice. Keep it up. Go ahead, Beta. Very nice.
Jimmy went to Planter's Hotel, registered as Ralph D. Spencer, and engaged in a room. He leaned on the desk and declared to the clerk that he had come to Elmore to go into business. He had thought of the shoe business. Was there an opening? The clerk was impressed by the clothes and manner of Jimmy and cordially gave information. He hoped Mr. Spencer would decide to locate in Elmore. Mr. Ralph Spencer.
Okay. Yeah. Continue.
The phoenix that rose from Jimmy Valentine's ashes, ashes left by the flame of a sudden attack of love, remained in Elmore and prospered. He opened the shoe store and did good business. Socially, he was also a success and made many friends. and he accomplished the wish of his heart. He met Miss Annabel Adams and became more and more captivated by her charms.
Okay, let's stop here. Let's stop here. Let's stop here. Okay, so what happens? See, basically, most of the time, if at all you are surrounded by any thief or anything, you won't be able to recognize them. Do you? In practical life, also, I'm saying. Do you agree with this?
Yes.
They dress
Yes, ma'am.
themselves in such a way, and they if you look at them, if you talk to them, they from no angle you will get the hint that okay, this person is not the one whom he is trying to show, he is something else. This happens with most of us. Have you
Yes, ma'am.
encountered any
Yes,
such
ma'am.
person in your life?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So similarly, it happens over here with Jimmy. What does he do? He, to hide his identity, he gives another name. What was the other name he gives?
Ralph D. Spencer.
Yes. Okay. So now he just can you just scroll up, please? Yeah. So Jimmy, he registers his name with Ralph G. Spencer. Okay. And then what information did he give to the clerk over there?
Ma'am, that he's here to go into a business of shoe
Yes,
business.
ma'am.
Yes.
To shop
And
you
the
on
and what did the clerk assume by the by looking at his clothes, by looking at the way?
Ma'am, like he was impressed by the clothes and the manner he gave the information.
Right. And he believed in whatever he was saying, right? But we as readers know who he was, right?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Now let's see. Okay. After that, what happens? Okay. Now he has registered in this.
Ma'am,
He opens the shoe store and becomes very successful. And
Hmm.
also now he left the Jimmy Valentine and was now Ralph Spencer, who was in love with Annabel Adams.
Annabelle Adams.
Yes.
So after
Okay.
being successful and making many friends, he had
Mhm.
also accomplished the wish that he wanted the most, to be to meet Miss Adams, Miss
Annabelle
Annabel.
Adams. Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. So, have you heard this happens even in Hindi movies? A girl coming into
Many
your life.
times. Ma'am, almost all.
Many times.
Yes. So,
Yes.
can you relate this particular situation to that?
Yes.
yes,
So
ma'am.
somewhere or the other, she played a very important role in changing his life. Not that even the prison can't do, right? At times,
Yes.
punishment cannot change the person, but things may happen in the weird way. We never know when the person will change, right? So here he actually sets up his business. He becomes a successful businessman, right? And then somewhere or the other, he had this wish in his heart that he would get uh, related to Animal Adams. Okay. Let's see what happens further. How would she respond to him?
At the end of the year, the situation of Mr. Ralph Spencer was this. He had won the respect of the community. His shoe store was flourishing, and he and Annabel were engaged to be married in 2 weeks. Mr. Adams, the typical plodding country banker, approved of Spencer. Annabel's pride in him almost equaled her affection.
Okay.
One day,
So, 1 minute. So finally, what happens?
Finally,
Did
Jimmy,
the wish of his heart gets fulfilled?
yes,
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It gets fulfilled.
Ma'am, like
Gets-
from the
Because
present
engaged.
time, he was getting married in 2 weeks.
Okay, so
Yes.
his business also was flourishing on one hand. On the other hand, he got engaged to the lady whom he wanted to, and very soon he was supposed to get married to her as well.
And
Okay.
Annabelle was affected to him also.
Yes.
Spencer.
Yes, so that's the reason they are getting married, right? Okay, then let's see what happens further.
One day, Jimmy sat down in his room and wrote this letter, which he made to the safe address of one of his friends in St. Louis. Dear old pal, I want you to be at Sullivan's place in Little Rock next Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. I want you to wind up some little matters for me. And also, I want to make you a present of my kit of tools. I know you'll be glad to get them. You couldn't duplicate the lot for $1,000. Say, Billy, I've quit the old business a year ago. I've got a nice store. I'm making an honest living, and I'm going to marry the finest girl on earth 2 weeks from now. This is the only life, Billy, the straight one. I wouldn't touch a dollar of another man's money now in exchange for 1 million. I tell you, Billy, she's an angel. She believes in me, and I wouldn't do another crooked thing for the whole world. Be sure to be at Sullivan's, for I must see you. I'll bring the two. I'll bring along the tools with me. Your old friend Jimmy.
Okay.
On the
So
Mon-
1 minute, 1 minute. So one day he writes a letter to his old friend. Okay. Whose name is what?
Billy.
Billy.
Pal. Okay. So now, what is he mentioning in that letter? That actually, you remember he had his tools, the kit.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Burglar's tools.
So he wanted to return that firstly, and secondly, he gave him information about his own life also. He says that he has now quitted his old business, and now he is willing to get married, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, to the girl who changed his life. And he describes the girl as an angel who entered his life, and he changed his life. And now he has promised to himself that now even he's not going to exchange even touch another man's dollar, even in exchange of millions. So that means he's saying that the only line, okay, the only that life, in your life you should have only one straight line, a simple and a honest life. That's what even he's advising his friend, right? And then what is the purpose of writing this letter to his friend? What is he saying?
Ma'am, the
Basically,
To
purpose
give him the
was to
tools.
give him the
Give
tools.
the tools.
yes, he wants to give him the tools, so that because he now does not want to get back to his previous life. All right, clear everyone till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone understood?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
have
Yes,
you heard
ma'am.
about the famous thing, Beauty and the Beast?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes. Don't you think this is somewhere related to that?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It's
Okay.
related.
It was a beast because of the the
Curse.
in things of this year also. He was into a bad business, he was doing something wrong. Just because of this particular lady, he changed his life, changes so drastically. Now let's see what happens further.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask one thing.
Yes, beta.
Ma'am, like the meaning of Pal is friend, so his name was Billy.